Hi, this is David Tingley from N49 Labs. Today is January 27th, 2017, and in this short video, I'm going to show you a viral campaign that we launched back in late 2015 for the Ram recall. You're looking at the ad that we placed. It's pretty simple. It's basically, we took the letter from Chrysler related to a recall that was announced at that time, and we used part of the verbiage in the ad itself, and we linked to a blog post. You wouldn't call this high production value. It's the letter word for word that Chrysler released. It's actually exactly the letter from Chrysler related to the that recall. And we've linked to Chrysler here and so on. We've actually linked to a site where they can search for Chrysler dealers. We linked to the Canada Motor Vehicle Safety Act. This is a very authoritative page. We wanted it to be. There's no sales message here. We're not trying to sell anything. We're simply providing information. First thing I want to point out is there were 617,000 people reached with this. Almost 100,000 of these were organic, and this is on Facebook. 2,500 comments. 2,500 comments. 4,500 shares. Now, the comments, most of these are shares as well. And here's why. On Facebook, if you're not aware, for example, this customer, Vinyl Scratch, tagged Michael Vincent. Michael Vincent, looks like he's from Red Deer. When you tag somebody on Facebook in this way, this shows up in that person's feed. They'll receive a notification from Facebook as well if they have their notifications turned on. Most people do. Some of them will receive a text message on their phone that they've been tagged in a post. As a matter of fact, many people with that function, if they have a phone, they receive that. So think about this. Somebody sees that there's a recall on a Ram. They may or may not click through and read about the recall. They know that one of their friends is driving a Ram. They tag them. And in that instant, on their mobile phone, they're pulled into this ad on your Facebook feed. That's how this thing spread virally. It's very, very, very powerful. Now, some of the comments you'll see on here are negative. Some of the comments are Ford people criticizing Dodge people defending Dodge, and so on and so on. Some people complain about the recalls. This is all social interaction on our Facebook feed at Redwater Dodge. This is the kind of thing that if you could write a check and buy this kind of result, you would. You can't. I mean, you have to create something like this in order to get this kind of a result. It's not an advertisement. Again, you won't find on any of these comments, the thousands of comments on here in the shares, you're not going to find a place where one of our salespeople jumped in and tried to sell something. I'm going to say that again. We never tried to sell anything with this. Nothing. As a matter of fact, when the thousands of people who reached out to us, there were 28,000 people, 28,000 clicks through to this site. And there were thousands and thousands of people who completed the information. We did the search, determined whether or not there were recalls on the vehicle, and we told them. Now, we didn't just tell them. We told them where the nearest Dodge dealer was to have the recall performed. We sent them the contact information. That might sound a little crazy to put those kinds of resources into this, but here's what happened. This spread virally across Canada. We didn't advertise this in Toronto or Newfoundland, but if you start looking through these, and we'll post a link to this post at the bottom of this video. If you start just mousing over these things, you can see where these folks are from. There's some from Alberta. There's actually a lot from Alberta. Here's a person from Kamloops, British Columbia. Here's a person from Drayton Valley, Alberta, of course. Doesn't say where this person is from. But if you start scrolling down and looking, you'll see that this literally was national, this campaign. And the benefit of us telling somebody in Toronto where the nearest Ram dealer might not seem obvious at first until you start to think about it. Redwater Dodge is a new store. It was an open point. We opened in 2013. And we're not exactly on the mainstream. kind of isolated. It's a small town. There's 2,000 people. The economy's a little tough right now. We had to find very creative ways to inexpensively get our brand out there, get people knowing that we were there so that they would consider us when they started to shop. So if there's one thing that somebody in Lethbridge or Prince George or Toronto or Halifax or St. John's, Newfoundland has in common, they all know somebody who works in the oil patch. And we're in the heart of the oil patch. So what we started to see, to our delight, was people nationally would see this. They would share it with somebody who they knew had a RAM, or share it with multiple people. And in many cases, those are people that were near our dealership. So here's a customer from Bonnyville, Alberta, who is sharing it with two of their friends, and they're starting to comment. So you can see the kind of comments. Mine's a 2013, so I'm good. William says okay. The gray Dodge is a 2012. They just go on and on and on. So you see one of these on here where there's an arrow and it says several comments or replies. You can open these things up and start to read them, and you get the picture. How did this help us? Well, of the 28,000 people that click through to the website here, we pixeled them, all of them. And what that means is we tagged them. So we don't know who they are, their names and so on. We know the ones that opted in to check their recall, of course. But all of these folks became part of a custom audience. In January of 2016, about a year ago, Chrysler came out with 0% financing on Rams for 84 months. We had a list of tens of thousands of folks that we'd pixeled who were driving Rams. And we put an advertisement in front of those people about the 084. And we immediately started selling trucks from this. Very inexpensive campaign. So just imagine for a minute, if you wanted to advertise to Alberta, for example, a couple million people, it would be pretty expensive. You could put the same ad in front of just the people that own Rams in your area for pennies by comparison, if you knew who they were. And this campaign told us who they were. This is the kind of work we do at N49 Labs. We've been doing it for a long time. We have a big team. We work with a short list of dealers. And we are interested in working with Dodge stores across the country. We work with several now. If you're interested in what we do, if you'd like to talk to us about it, contact me directly, David@davidtingley.com.